Hello guys, in today's video I'm going to show off Li Bai, the new hero that is coming in a couple of days of now, and I will showcase all his skills and his artifact, and I will try to show him in some of the action in tribe trial, in PvP, and maybe I will show him in some bosses here and activities and give my overall view. And also guys, I asked some of the Chinese version of this game. They have way more heroes than we do, and in some reason I will give the final results about what people think about him and if he is useful or used or it's worth to get him or not. So please leave a like, subscribe, and enjoy the video. So guys, I will give you my honest opinion, and I will start by talking about his basic things. Like, first of all, he is ranged and considered as DPS. Overall, he is focusing on the front lines. His abilities, as you can see, it's attack, and here it's the normal things, and his main thing is increasing damage by his skills. He is not a marksman that you need to put crit damage on him. He is basically built to give more knockback and to give more armor penetration. He is known for dealing damage depending on your enemy's HP and not to deal damage depending on crit damage. I will explain his talents and you will understand more about what I am saying. As you can see, it can start with twin swords. Basic attack, so all his basic attacks, releases 2 flying swords, each dealing physical damage equal to 80% of the attack. So basically he doesn't deal 100%, he deals 160 every attack. And on top of it, if you have his purple artifact, the twin swords will start dealing 1 to 1.5 the damage. So instead of dealing 80%, he will start dealing 80 to 120% per sword. So in total it's like every 1 attack for him is equal to 2 attacks, 0.4. So overall he is targeting 1 enemies in the front, basically the front lines like your Dark Knight or your Paladin or these enemies that have in the front, and he targets them by his swords. His second ability is the Sword Breaker, Sky Splitting Sword, which is the ultimate. I think we need to go over the ultimate first so we understand what it does. His ultimate, he shoots 5 flying swords forward, each dealing physical damage equal to 125. So basically it's almost the same amount of damage as his basic attacks, and it has a chance to trigger piercing effect, causing the same damage and effect to multiple targets. Effect 1, 30% chance to attack 2 targets in front and 15% chance to attack 3 targets in front. So basically you shoot 5 flying swords focusing on your first and second and third enemies, but this has chances. It can only target the first one, it can target the first 2, and it can target the first 3 depending on the chances that you hit. And his ultimate is equal to 625% of his damage. So basically he will deal a lot of damage to 1 or 2 or 3 targets depending on your chances. And then if you have his mythic artifact, each flying sword will additionally deal damage equal to 4% of the target's max HP up to maximum of 100 of Li Bai attack, and increase its own attack speed by 30% for 6 seconds after release. Basically his mythic artifact is so powerful that he will start bursting damage to the front lines and the first 2 enemies after the front line. So the first 3 enemies are in danger, 4% each sword, that's equal to 20% of the enemy's HP in top of the HP. So he basically maybe good working with Foxy. If you have Foxy and then Li Bai and put them both together, they will deal a lot of damage. He's basically bursting and killing all your front lines, enemy front lines. So back to the second skill. Sky Splitting Sword, which is the ultimate we just explained, increase damage of each flying sword by 25% and grants an additional 30% armor penetration. So each sword will deal 150% of damage, and you will deal more armor penetration. So if you have and boosting your armor penetration here, you will boost it even more by having this talent. His third ability is called Sword Beam. Every 3 attacks he deals, unleash a sword beam, attack enemies in front, dealing physical damage equal to 3% of attack. Enemies hit by the sword beam will lose 30 energy. So basically he will deal damage and drain the enemy's energy. It works good with combination like Silence. He maybe will be good in some of the lineups. I will explain in detail more later when he is useful and not. And if you have his legend artifact, increase physical damage by 100% each time the sword beam hits an enemy, restores 30 energy. So basically if you have 5 enemies alive, you will get 150 energy back in his ult. If there is 1, you will get 30. If there is 2, you will get 60. So basically the more you hit, the faster you hit, the more energy you will generate. And this can be combined with his ultimate. If you have his mythic artifact, you will get more attack speed, and for sure if you use more attack speed on his effect rune, you will get more and more attack speed, which is more ultimates and more skills. His attack speed is 3.2, so you need to boost it more and you will start bursting damage to the front lines. His fourth ability is increasing the attack by 15% and knockback effect by 10%. So what he's doing is he's making sure all the front lines are getting pushed back and bursting them with damage, and as fast as possible you need just to kill the front lines and move to the DPS. His fifth ability is Man and Sword, Sky Splitting Sword, which is the ultimate flying swords +1, so you instead of 5 flying swords you will shoot 6 and convert 15% of the damage of twin swords, which is this, to heal him. So basically his twin swords and the sword beam will give him 15% of that damage that he deals into his HP, so it heals him. It's like lifesteal bonus for him. So overall his abilities looks strong, but he's mainly focusing the front lines, which is in my opinion a little bit bad. As we saw, Foxy, not many people said that she is good in the combination of lineups because she's focusing the front line where or the witch or the gunslinger in the back can still kill all your team when you are busy killing the front line, which is Dark Knight and Paladin, that being used by most of the players, so they have a lot of defense and heals. And Li Bai will focus the front lines basically, and the back lines of the enemies, which has most of the DPS, will still be alive. In his artifact, we explained the purple, the legend and the mythic, but his eternal will increase self-attack by 5% for 6 seconds after a basic attack or skill release. So basically after basic attacks or the first 4 seconds, the first 4 attacks or ultimates, he will get 5% multiplied by 4, that's 20% more attacks into his attack. And his passive is when taking damage, single damage exceeding 15% of max HP, it's like Shadow Master hitting him in his face, he immediately restores 80% 80 energy points. So he will ult faster, he will make sure he have ultimate as long as he's getting pushed back. I wish I have his awakening, but I don't, but I will try to look it up. Maybe I will link it in the Discord. But for now, I will try to put him some in use. My overall opinion on this, I heard from the Chinese version that he is good in early game, maybe mid game, but late game you will not use him. He is so powerful in killing the enemies in the front, but definitely not in the end game, whereas people using Gunslinger, which is way more effective by killing the DPS, which is the most important thing, or using the Shadow Master, whereas he is targeting multiple enemies and dealing a lot of damage too. So I still don't know how he works with Foxy. Maybe running Li Bai and Foxy together maybe can bring some potential to this, because they will both burst the front lines and you will be fast focusing on the back line. I haven't seen this in action, and unfortunately in this beta there is no Foxy. There's only Li Bai and the monkey, I mean the panda. But yeah, I think maybe with Foxy he will be good. The Chinese version has Foxy and they said they don't use him in end game, maybe in early game and mid game. But yeah, I will show you a little bit of his action and moves and how he works. In here, as you can see in the tribe trial, even though he's 1, if we put Li Bai alone, and we can put maybe a good pet on him, so he can maximize his potential. Let's put this, maybe we can max her out, even though he is better using armor penetration, and maybe this pet is the best on him because he needs more energy, as I said. And if I have his mythic, which I don't, the mythic artifact, he will deal more and more damage, because he will deal damage depending on the enemy's HP. First of all, as you see, like his damage is not something crazy. Like we are almost 30 seconds in and he's only dealt 17 or 17 million. If you just put Gunslinger, I know he's more powerful, but his hits is way more consistent, and like one ult and you will be more than what Li Bai did in like the whole time. As you can see here, like 15 seconds less and we are already more than Li Bai damage to the single target. And again, I know we don't have his mythic, which is important, and we don't have his eternal, but overall again, this damage is dealt to the front lines. So in my opinion, I don't see him that powerful in endgame to work. And the more ultimates, the better. So I will put Li Bai. I will put another front line just to see it. So, as you can see, I don't see like he's dealing burst damage, and in terms of knockback, I think Foxy is more powerful in knocking back enemies. And again, I know that the runes are not perfect and you can put more and more, but I don't see that he's dealing like some crazy damage or game changer like Baphomet is dealing the same damage as him. We have 3 front lines and we are not able to push the enemies back. As I said, in late game he will fall behind, so if I think you will need Gunslinger or Shadow Master. And I will try another opponent. So maybe we will make it a little bit, even though we are like so way stronger than the enemies. I will try weaker one, just in case. We remove the panda. We will put Li Bai and remove Shadow Master. We put monkey. Put monkey. Again, he's dealing the most damage, but I don't see him like knocking back enemies crazy or doing something. I know he's missing the mythic artifact, but I still don't see him as powerful or whatever. Like people are like, and the whole team is dealing a lot of damage anyway. If we put like Shadow Master, I'm pretty sure we will get a lot more damage. Like with the same enemy that we just fought, it was this. Like if we put just Shadow Master, even without runes, without anything, we remove this, put this. Like we're knocking. Like you immediately notice how fast the fight was, and we knocked even the enemies back better than Li Bai. And if you keep, like, if we look here, it's like not even special attributes or whatever. He has no pet. His crit rate is 51, crit damage is 78. It's like the worst details and attributes. It's not like something special on him. So yeah, I don't know. My opinion, honestly, about Li Bai is early game, he will shine. I don't see him in end games, even though, as I mentioned before, I asked the Chinese version. You can maybe try him with Foxy. We don't have Foxy in the beta, so maybe with Foxy they both make some crazy combination together, and you can rock like Foxy and Li Bai, and then you put Dark Knight and Paladin, or I don't know, in the current situation, and then you put someone else to deal even more damage for everyone, or silence. Maybe that could work, but I don't see it in end game. As I said again, if you are in early game, he definitely gonna dominate with his damage and shit, but in end game I don't see him working. So yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Please leave a like, subscribe, help me reach my goal. I know you guys do it every time I ask, so please, I am so close to getting to my target. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you all for attending and supporting me always. And I will give you an update about my progress in server 201 soon. And until then, have a good one.